Hey y'all, I kind of hate that I have to make this video and I've been avoiding it intentionally, but I feel like it's gotten to a point where it needs to be discussed. So if you are an entrepreneur and whether you are struggling with your business, whether you are aspiring to start a business, or you are successful and things are great, and you know people maybe where things aren't. Um, it's all about the discussion of whether you should get a day job to supplement your pursuit in entrepreneurship, how long you should rely on other people to help you and to support you while you are still figuring things out. And I'm super mindful that I'm trying to figure out like what was the necessary disclaimer, because Tabitha Brown built her brand around being someone who's so kind, so empathetic, so generous, so supportive, like eh, sunshine in human form, like a rainbow personified. She is just a splash of color, smiles and warmth, and just someone that I've met her 4 times, and I have always admired um, her capacity. And I think in one discussion, I asked, like, how do you do it? I think I was navigating, it's not even fame, but I'm just navigating being a public figure and wanting to, you know, be private for a season and just kind of, keep to myself. And I just saw how she treated everyone like a friend. She was just so joyfully willing to sign an autograph, to take a selfie, to have a combo, just the level of capacity to show up for anyone. Uh, it's a gift, it's an anointing, and I recognize it all over her. And so, yeah, I just asked, like, how do you do it? She was like, honey, I walk with favor. Favor goes before me. I'm prayed up. I am armed when I head out the door. I just love that. I love a praying woman, but I also love how when you aren't worried about just basic fear and anxieties of other people, which you cannot control, you can faithfully and fully walk in your purpose and just enjoy the path that God has destined for you. So let's discuss like why her words triggered so many, what we can do in the Black community when it comes to supporting our own and defending our own, and just maybe even some advice if you are someone that has given entrepreneurship a try and maybe you are too stubborn for a 9 to 5. And the funniest thing is that I am technically the demographic she was calling out. That's crazy. She was saying, listen, you've been trying. Or no, she was telling the people who weren't trying. Like, I knew that I was struggling for probably, let me see, 2012 to 2015. Yeah, 3 years. I mean, longer than that because that was before my travel blogging pursuit. But when I was pursuing being a paid, full-time paid travel blogger, it took me 3 years to actually make enough to sustain myself. And my goodness, just credit cards and just not having it ever, to the point of embarrassment where someone would be, so I'm traveling, right? I'm building my blog and my brand. And someone would be like, oh my gosh, like you're in Vienna right now, like let's meet up. I didn't have not nothing to my name. I had pennies, like, and they're wanting to go eat. And I'm the kind of person where I love to pay for people. I love to treat. I didn't have treating money though. So I almost like burned bridges or friendships, like not meeting up with people who were good people, who were actual friends, because I was too embarrassed to tell them, oh, I can't afford dinner. I can't afford my dinner and I can't afford your dinner. And the perception of me, maybe at the time, because I was posting so much, trying to build my personal brand, was that I had made it. And so trying to trying to catch up to the version of you people might be perceiving is hard because they're like, well, you can't be struggling because you were just in Belgium at that five-star hotel. And I'm like, that was for exposure. Anyways, she's really all Tabitha is saying is at some point you got to help yourself. People love to help those who help themselves. And how much longer are other people in your life going to suffer because you are not taking responsibility over the fact that those bills, those loans, uh, things that are in your name and affecting people, affecting those around you, um, eventually it's going to catch up. And yeah, I think for me, I was so adamant to like, I am never going to work a 9 to 5. So to that degree, I was very stubborn. And she called that out like in her video. She's talking about there are people that have never tried to get a job, even though they needed it. That was me. I was 22, 23, like, I'll be broke on a park bench before I have an employer tell me what to do and how to spend my time. And I know my dad was an entrepreneur. My mom is, now very much entrepreneurial. Still in the health field though, because she's Nigerian. Yeah, so I'm technically in the target demographic that she was calling out, and yet I was not triggered because I knew and I had enough emotional detachment from the message. And so often when we are so connected to our past and our trauma and the pity and attention that it gets us, we are not willing to develop and grow and mature and evolve to a state of personal responsibility, personal accountability, um, recognizing this might just be for a season. There, the success stories that you see of like built it in my closet, built it in the garage, never had a job, and sold it for I don't know, had an 8 or 9 figure exit. That is not the only type of way to make it. That is not most people's story. The majority of people are moonlighting as all these types of jobs while pursuing their dreams. And you have to be okay with saying, again, this is based on your your desire and your reality. If you have kids, if you have people that are depending on you, for me, I was in my 20s. No one needed nothing from me. I was the lowest on the totem pole of society. I was not a contributing member, didn't even make enough to be able to pay taxes. It was just, I think my first full year as an entrepreneur, I think I made just under 7,000, less than that. It was pennies. I mean, I was just, yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think, it's 500, $600 a month. Yeah, imagine. Okay. Bills and expenses were minimal, student loans deferred. But the day I made it, you best believe I wrote a 5 figure check. Was it 60K, 70K? No, all my student loans, just paid it off at once. I was low key waiting on, you know, loan forgiveness, but I was like, you know what? There was a year where I'm just like, I'm gonna make so much money, I don't have to even think about the regrets of the decisions and mistakes of my past. Because it's so easy to beat yourself up and say, man, I could have been smarter, could have been more financially literate, should have done this, should have invested that. And I'm like, let me just make a lump sum, just a stupid amount of money so I can erase the financial mistakes of my past. Okay, that said, so many people are afraid to take responsibility for their future and themselves. And when Tabitha Brown is someone who has made it a point at every step of her journey to support small businesses, to amplify Black businesses, to amplify and show up for women businesses, for, I mean, she doesn't have to do most of what she does in terms of like just her generosity and philanthropy. And yet, the level of it's almost as if we often talk about the crabs in a barrel mentality, where anyone that's trying to make it out, you get clawed right back in. And when it comes to the Black community, it's almost like, and I can't remember. I saw something that was really poignant. I just can't remember the words, but what I will say is that when someone is no longer, when someone now becomes a threat to your own sense of self, you have no choice but to look within or to project without. And that's what happened. Her success got so loud that it echoed the insecurities that people have been ashamed to really confront. And she's calling you in and saying, baby, this might be a season where you just get a cute little 9 to 5. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You cannot be above what it takes and what's required. Now, again, I'm calling myself out because in my 20s, I felt above that. I was like, I will be homeless. I will sleep on a park bench. I will miss meals before I get a job. That was my own level of conviction. That was my personal journey. That was that was me. That was my path. If I was in my 30s and I was struggling in this little arena of entrepreneurship, if I had no 8 income streams like I have now, if I was not doing good, you best believe in my 30s, I'm not in my 40s, in my 50s, I'm I have no ego. I'm like, yeah, let me pick something up. Let me go work hotel reception and still get a taste of travel by checking people in from around the world. If I had a kid, best believe getting something secure if I don't feel like my business is taking off. When you are in a position where people are relying on you or you are indebted to others, you owe it to yourself to take uh, the humble path. And I'm mindful that, like, sometimes the way you see yourself and the way you see success for yourself may be completely different from the reality that you actually lived through. And it's very common for people to talk about being delulu and wanting to allow their delusional thinking to get them to the level of success they desire. Yes, and yes, and what I'm most ashamed of is I've talked about this before, but in 2020, when I went viral, gained 200,000 followers in a few days on Instagram. And then I had a $27 digital product gross $500,000 in profit in 1 year. Um, the most amount of hate mail that I got was from Black women. And the thing is, the $27 product and what I was going viral for was ally education. I was just making it a point to teach one thing every day about the Black experience and how white people could better show up for us. And Black women thought that I was being too nice and spoon feeding the information too easily to others. And what they didn't realize, I'm like, a more educated white society helps you, benefits you, because there's less microaggressions at work. There's more equality at the C-suite level. Like, I was trying to advocate and show up for the people that were in positions of power to make decisions at your job so that you actually get a fair shot. I mean, not that I felt like I had that much pull, but a lot of the stories that were being sent back to me of like, go page 17 of your ebook, like, this is what I implemented. This is what I changed. Here's who I'm now working with because of you. Like, if you have any Black creators you want to introduce me to, I would love to like work with them. And I was putting a lot of Black creators on, Black women creators. So people weren't even seeing that I was, doing all of that. And it didn't even matter. Like it wasn't for show. But just to see that like me trying to show up in a way that was different than what Black women felt I should have done was received the way it was. Just lots of hate. And mind you, even though that hate was a majority, it still wasn't as threatening as the hate that I got from white people, the death threats, the slurs, and all that stuff. So I could take it from the Black community because I'm like, at the end of the day, like, when your pain is so loud, you can't even see uh, that someone is trying to like give you a medication or alleviate the suffering. When your pain is all you can see, there is no space to breathe into a future of hope. There was so much, um, there was so much to be upset about and to be frustrated about. And so I made an easy target if just things weren't going their way. So I was okay taking those shots. Um, but yeah, like I said, even though they were the majority, the ones that still were the most that I feared the most were, the white people telling me, you know, I'm gonna pay $30,000 to blow your head off. Don't leave your apartment. I know where you live. I'm gonna kill you. Like crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. So at least Black people weren't telling me that. Anyways, I recognize that when people are dealing with their livelihood, their future, their finances, these are things that we attach a lot of our sense of identity to. Like how much you make can give someone, I don't know, can give them a little bit of an identity. And so if you become a nine to fiver, your identity is someone who works a nine to five. And maybe that's something that you have criticized or judged all your life. And so you are refusing a nine to five label because all the things that you've said in the past will then catch up and be associated to you. So it's really fascinating. And I do appreciate that, Tabitha Brown made 4 or 5 videos kind of doubling down on like, I said what I said, if you misconstrued it, and she constantly disclaimer, preface, like if you are choosing to willfully be obtuse and not receive this in the way that I'm intending you to hear it, I what huh? I don't know what else you can say and what else you can do. And my hope and wish and prayer for Tabitha is that this almost gives her a new edge. Like sometimes it takes a little bit of a chip on your shoulder to like, my greatest growth spurt was when I was trying to prove my mother wrong and let her know that I will make it in entrepreneurship. When you have something to prove, there's, I don't know, there's no reward that can really give you that same level of like, so I woke up every morning with like a chip on my shoulder of like, and I can't wait to show her how profitable this can be, how successful I can get, how how big my network can grow. Like that was my motivator for years. And then I got all the numbers on paper. I did and got everything that she thought was success, and it wasn't enough. So at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm done performing for her acceptance. And I had a couple years where I plateaued because I no longer had that chip on my shoulder or that edge. So when I tell you the edge is actually a really healthy and beautiful part of like the pruning process of just listen, if you got what it takes, I'll see you at the top. So Tabitha's been winning for years now. She's been on this like 5 year unbeatable streak. And naturally, if you're a little too successful or too happy, too joyful, too positive, too peaceful, that disrupts people that ain't never seen a positive emotion in their life. So, yeah, I think Tabitha represents all of the qualities and characteristics that require you to take accountability for your actions, for yourself, and for your future. And people committed to their pain and committed to their past aren't trying to see, read, or hear any of that. So it's unfortunate. We're playing two different games. One is, playing the long game, looking out for others, taking personal accountability. And the other game is just, you know, victimhood, really, you know. Oh, it's tough. It's tough. Um, what I hope you all take away from this lesson is that there is no version of success without haters at some point. It's inevitable. And your desire to be successful, your ability to maintain that success cannot be contingent upon people liking you and willing to keep you at a certain level. Like you have to release your need to be understood and accepted and liked. I always say aim to be respected. People might not like Tabitha Brown, but they respect the hustle. They respect where she came from. They respect that she's still going. And yeah, I'm very much like ashamed, embarrassed, annoyed, frustrated, just watching the discourse. Like I think at some point I'm just gonna have to mute her name, not because, obviously I don't want to see her, but I'm tired of seeing the negative takes. And people are so just ignorant in how they're approaching, like there's no nuance. They're misconstruing the words, putting words in her mouth. No nuance, no empathy. She has never, like, people are acting like she doesn't have a reputation for being one of the kindest people on the internet. Come correct. Come correct. And at very least, she's Auntie Tab, but treat her like an elder. You're not going to talk to your elder like that in person in real life. So please, y'all. And I imagine, the people that will be watching this video, I know you have intelligence, enough intelligence to understand that not every message is meant for you. And if you are offended by someone's words, you need to have a bird's eye perspective and look down on what's actually happening. What is it, what is it about her words that put me in my feelings? What is it about how she's addressing this that is triggering something that happened in my past? Where is the message for me in all of this, if any at all? Okay. Oh, again, I hate that I had to make this video, and I don't want to make another one like this. I truly wish Tabitha Brown the best. She is an incredible light. She's someone that I continue to look up to. Um, I just, I want the world for her, and she is one of God's favorites. So touch not mine anointed. And I know, like, she is covered. She is so covered. Okay, I am going to take my butt to bed. Today was a day. We're in Croatia, hosting a couples retreat for our Love Leap, our second company. And yeah, we did jet skiing. Okay, they did jet skiing. I took videos. And horseback riding up a mountain. It was insane. Tomorrow we're going island hopping, so I better get to bed. Thank y'all for watching. Be sure to, there we go. You could see my disjointed pinkies. All right, bye, y'all. Thanks for being here. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. What else? Check the video description. MyCreativeReset.com is on sale all month. Um, it's going to change your life. There's so many reviews. There's so many powerful things people are saying. I promise you, it will be the best investment you make, not just for your business, but for your life. It is more than just how to make money. It is all the things for pursuing a life that just feels aligned and more like you. Okay, so check it out, and I will see y'all tomorrow. And now let me put my hands back here. You can click one of these to continue watching the rest of the videos on this playlist. Bye.